Cubs signed 39-year-old veteran Carlos Santana. And I guess the question is, what's left in the tank? Well, Owen Caissie, who had a really good showing in the major leagues but wasn't getting a whole lot of playing time, sent back to the minor leagues and replaced by Kevin Alcantara. I'm going to tell you why they made that move, where the Cubs made some mistakes in having Caissie on the roster, and more, including our magic number of 17. All that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's get this show started. Great to see you guys today. Go Cubs. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball channel, and it is great to see you guys. I tried to do a show last night, but then I was like, there are so many different moves that are coming that I didn't feel like it was the right time. Still don't know, as of while I'm recording right now, what the move on the 40-man is going to be as far as adding Carlos Santana. But I thought that there could be some moves, and honestly, I was surprised, first off, that this happened, that Kevin Alcantara would replace Owen Caissie. Surprised because I thought Caissie gave the Cubs a pretty good left-handed threat, one of the most dangerous hitters that they had in their lineup right now. But he didn't play a lot. Seems like he'd have a good game and then sit the bench for 3 or 4. And that's just the way that the team's being managed right now. And so being that he's left-handed and he wasn't playing a lot, going back to Iowa, and the Cubs are putting in Kevin Alcantara, I guess, to kind of sit the bench, right? Alcantara is a right-handed hitter, though, so it gives the Cubs, who do have a heavily left-handed lineup, a right-handed batter. He has played pretty good baseball of late in this season. He's one of the Cubs' top prospects. He can play all 3 outfield positions, which is something that Caissie isn't able to do, which is play center. On the season for Alcantara, he hit 266 in Iowa, had 17 home runs and 69 batted in. You remember he got up last year for a cup of coffee. He kind of reminds me of of Dave Winfield with his long reach. I'm not saying he's Dave Winfield. It just reminded me of Dave Winfield because no matter how long those arms were of Dave Winfield, he never really got tied up inside. I think that that's something that Alcantara, who kind of has that same build, can put on his resume. For a guy that's that tall, he can still get to the inside pitch. So anyway, he's getting the call up. With part of this is that Carlos Santana is going to be on the roster too. All of that had to be done, or has to be done, because today, right, to be eligible for the postseason with Santana added to the roster. Also, pretty interesting, the Cubs added Aaron Civale. This is a pretty good pickup for the Cubs. You know him as a member of the White Sox and someone that they feel like could help the staff. Now, he started the year with the Brewers and then eventually ended up with the White Sox. He was claimed off of waivers by the Cubs. And, I guess this kind of feels like a deadline trade, right? When you talk about adding someone who can do a little bit of starting if you need him to. He made 13 starts with the Brewers, 67 innings. Then he landed with the White Sox and did not do well. And I should say the 13 starts are with the White Sox. But overall this year, 18 starts, 89 innings. He's got a 5.26 ERA with 74 strikeouts. And you know him from his time with the Cleveland Guardians, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Brewers, the White Sox, a career .418 earned run average as Civale was picked off of waivers by the Cubs. So hopefully he's one of these guys that they figure out, kind of how to get back on track. He gives you some depth. The Michael Soroka trade, it hasn't panned out at all. The guy threw 2 innings and was hurt. So Civale gives you somebody that maybe is healthy and can come in there and help out and give you a little bit of punch uh, as far as just somebody that you could use if you needed them in the rotation. And they've done a good job. I mean, the Cubs starting pitching this year has been as good as anyone in baseball, which is crazy. But I feel like Matthew Boyd's starting to kind of get hit a little bit more than he was at the beginning of the year. Shota, I think he's still been solid. And then Cade Horton has been great, but they've really limited him in, the fifth or the sixth inning. And partly because he's way over his, innings pitched count this season. So, that's kind of a look at the roster moves that we've seen the Cubs make. So there's still some more moves that will be made. But that's, kind of the deal for right now. And, I guess I just wonder why they didn't play Caissie more. I think a lot of you guys feel the exact same way on that. But, what are you going to do? They've paid big contracts to these guys. They're big league vets. And, David Ross was kind of the same way when he managed. And honestly, it feels like, which by the way, Rossi and Craig Counsell had the same exact record the last two seasons, right? This year, a better team with Kyle Tucker. And it just feels like kind of the same thing that we got before. And that means for young players, they're just going to have to wait their turn. The contract's going to play, and that's kind of how it feels right now. So, and hopefully these guys get hot. Maybe that's the formula, because I felt like Caissie could have helped the lineup. But, it doesn't feel like Alcantara is going to be much different playing time wise than Caissie was. He just gives you a little bit more options in the outfield because he can play center. And, and he's right-handed. And I think they did need a right-hander off the bench. So wish him the best. Now, Cubs magic number is 17. So that's exciting, kind of winding down this season. And the Cubs are, 99% chance going to make the playoffs. So they're going to make it. It's just a matter of when. This wouldn't be clinching the number one wild card spot. This would just be, hey, you're in the playoffs. But once you get in the playoffs, you want to try to have that home field advantage for the first round. And that's what the game plan is right now. So the Cubs do control that spot. They just got to keep on going out there and winning games. So pretty exciting though. Reds beat the Cardinals yesterday. Cubs lost, so they didn't pick up a game. And then, you got the Atlanta Braves coming to town. And so we'll see what happens, Pretty fun, though, when you get to this part of the year and you're still in the mix. I love that. It makes me really happy. So anyway, a couple things. Join Mick Nation on AveD. This is our Web3 destination, and I appreciate all of you guys that have signed up already to join us there. We're going to give away swag, actually getting that put together right now through AveD. We're going to do some giveaways there. The QR code is right there. But you get to pick games and scores, and then we want to give away some playoff tickets when the Cubs do make the playoffs. And it would be great if they were at Wrigley Field. So anyway, that's where you do it at. And appreciate all of you guys. I guess we just kind of keep an eye on the roster, what's going to happen on that 40-man roster, and what the move's going to be to put Santana on. And I'm curious, how that's going to look. I think we all have our ideas of what it probably will be, but not sure. Cubs play 3:05 at Wrigley today against the Braves. This is going to be a good matchup, I'd say. Anytime Spencer Strider's pitching, I mean, he's a fireballer, 5-12 this year with a 4.95 ERA for Atlanta, and Colin Ray, who's 10-6, has a 4.23 ERA for the Cubs. I'll say this about Colin Ray. I mean, he doesn't blow you away with his stuff, but the guy knows how to win. He's kind of a Jamie Moyer type to me. Not saying that, Moyer didn't throw very hard, and I don't mean that, but I mean just Moyer just found a way to win. He was a winner. Like you can't take that away from him. Even though he didn't have overpowering stuff, he just kind of kept himself in the game and knew how to get, give up just enough to win the games. or maybe, with Ray, it feels like he just has all of his bad games in one game, like he'll pitch solid, then have that bad game that'll inflate his ERA. But he's been pretty solid for the Cubs. A lot of you guys are saying the Cubs starter in the postseason, who goes game one. I saw that in the comment section. I think it's got to be Shota in game one, Matthew Boyd game two, and then it would be, to me, Horton in game three. And maybe you do Horton game two and then save Boyd for game three. But I think any way you look at it, those three guys right now are your 1, 2, 3s in a playoff game, playoff series. So we'll see. I don't know if that's what Craig Counsell's idea is, but that's certainly what I think. So anyway, Cubs and Braves today. Thank you guys. Magic number 17, and we will do it again really soon. Go Cubs.